You are listening to Zimbabwe News. Keep listening to Zimbabwe News.
Regarding the political disputes, of course, the witness that characterized by flash demonstrations organized by the MDC. Of course, we are now almost 2 years after the coming in of the new dispensation, and to discuss some of these challenges that are being faced by the people of Zimbabwe, my guest for today is Deputy Defense Minister Victor Matemadanda. He is also the Zanu-PF Commissar. Honorable, I must welcome you to the agenda.
Thank you.
Let me just start by understanding from your side. You are the War Veteran Secretary General, right? What's the state of the welfare of the war veterans?
It's bad. It's bad because it was not fully attended to from 1980. And whatever efforts that we are making cannot compensate for the time lost, for the non-caring effects of those years that there was no care. So, for example, the effects of diseases and wounds that were not attended to from 1980 up to some time later cannot be reversed, and this is the dire situation. But government is trying. The current dispensation, you will understand that we are in the second reading stage of the bill that is going to cater for all the veterans of the liberation struggle, and also to try and improve on the welfare of the veterans. So yes, efforts are being done, but those will not compensate for time lost.
So if you would want to mention maybe one or two challenges that you are seeing, there's the crime challenge that you're facing.
Of course, the economic factor. We would have wanted to solve most of the problems, but most of the times we do not have enough money in our economy to support the empowerment, the treatment, or the welfare services of the veterans of the liberation struggle. So our first hurdle is a problem caused by the effects of the economic sanctions.
You are regarded as one of the people who played a very influential role in the resignation, if I want to put it that way, of Robert Mugabe, and the coming in, the birth of the new dispensation. And the challenges that you are facing today are the same challenges that you are facing during Robert Mugabe era.
No, they are not. Of course, the challenges from where they are coming from will be the same, but the effort to resolve them is different. The determination to have them sorted out is different. You remember that at some stage, Robert Mugabe would say, war veterans have got no role in this economy, in this system. They just should worry about their welfare. And that is shutting out, an effort to shut out the veterans of the liberation struggle. But the current dispensation has actually incorporated the veterans of the liberation struggle, so that even in governance, in the system of ruling, they represent themselves. And I think that is great effort. And you say the problems are even Mugabe, from the war. The injuries we are talking about are not post-independence. They are pre-independence, and they have not been attended to. So we will not divorce the past from the present. It is the same people and the same system in terms of what should have been done. And what I can happily say is that the current dispensation is taking measures, of course, with these characterized economic problems, but the will is there, and the empowerment aspect is being done.
I also understand that did you have maybe some sort of an agreement with the opposition during the November 2017 protest? Because right now there are people who are regretting And what would you say to them?
What is the regret?
No, I'm saying there are people who are regretting their participation in November 2017 protests.
And
Which ultimately led to the rise of...
Your question was, did we have any form of an agreement?
Yes.
You remember, you said they played a critical role
yes,
in that. And you remember that we encouraged Zimbabweans across the political divide. We did not invite a particular political party. And of course, this does not mean that MDC as a party did not support, but we have had no agreement of any sort with any political party. Because remember, myself and other people that were in the leadership of the War Veterans Association were an expelled lot from Zanu-PF. So we did not stand then for any political party, and we had no capacity to engage a full-fledged political party to say, let's come and sit and have these arrangements, because we're not a political party ourselves. But we invited Zimbabweans, and our understanding and feeling is that those that attended, including the late Dr. Morgan Tsvangirai, Dr. Joyce Mjuru, Vanachamisa, Vanamonzora, everyone, they attended and were given time to make speeches, but I don't remember any speech that said, I have come here as MDC, because remember we were saying this stage that we were was above political party affiliation and a code for Zimbabweans. But if people were having misconceptions or misunderstandings of the requirements and expectations, that's another issue. But I agree that people from all the political parties that were there attended and contributed. But at no point did we address people as MDC, Zanu-PF, or whatever. We addressed people as citizens of Zimbabwe. If they are going to say we had an agreement by maybe the look of things with the people of Zimbabwe, that we wanted to have some sort of a future, that I would agree, but not as a political
you and me, we should agree that there was this polarization in 2017.
Yes.
There was this huge polarization.
Yes.
And you, as a champion of the coming in of new dispensation,
yes,
you were emphasizing on unity.
Yes.
People
and uniting. I still do.
Uniting. And now this is a regret, even from some people in Zanu-PF who are saying, post-Robert Mugabe, things didn't happen the way they expected.
One day I was defining democracy and rolling out Abraham Lincoln's definition of the rule for the people, by the people. No, that would mean that people will always agree on a particular thing together. But there is diversity of thinking. Being in Zanu-PF does not mean that a person can have a different opinion from another Zanu-PF person. Being in MDC will not mean that also. So we cannot take it that because some people are saying this is not what we had wanted, therefore it was a wasted effort. But people are allowed democratically to think the way they like and say whatever they can say. But life goes on, and what we want and what we emphasized on that time was to remove this polarization. And I've not stopped talking about that, to say yes, we have differences in the way we want to approach politics or governance or whatever, or we have issues of ideology that we differ. But first and foremost, let's agree that we are Zimbabweans. Let's agree that if someone is a leader in Zanu-PF, in Hindu, in Zapa and so forth, they must know that they lead a section of the people in Zimbabwe. Therefore, they are classified and identified as leaders. And if we are leaders, we must behave and do things responsibly, so that responsibly, so that whatever we do does not destroy the efforts of rebuilding this economy, of developing this country, of making this country a productive country again.
Let's look at the former cabinet minister and Zanu-PF sitting political member Chingatuni. He said Zimbabwe missed an opportunity to have been united.
That you can ask Chingatuni. I cannot speak for them. For him, he's alive, and like I've said, everyone is free to their it's democratic right that they speak their mind. They think the way they want, but we cannot take the opinion of Chingatuni as a national subject.
So, which means that is part of the regret that people, in terms of...
I've agreed that people are bound to think the way they like, and they are free to do that. But this is a revolution, if you want, that happened in 2017, and we were all alive, and we are still alive. There is no reason, in my view, to regret. But what we should do is to engage, so that if there are things that we are not sure of, if there are things that we do not understand, then they must be resolved by talking. You have talked about how we prime the people to come, to be able to work together, over seeing or looking, being beyond political party affiliation. And it was because we were talking as Zimbabweans, and would have wanted that spirit not to die, where we would agree that we think differently, but we are Zimbabweans together.
Let's look at, we want to close this section of
Yes.
the birth of the new dispensation, but one of the narratives that the president adopted then, when he was expelled from Zanu-PF, he was sort of saying the voice of the people is the voice of God, meaning to identify himself with the people who are...
And do you know...
And it seems now from cross sections of...
Do you know that... Do you know that
he has changed from that stance, from that...
Do you know the kind of rule that is gotten from a vociferous crowd? That is called mobosity. A decision that comes from a mob is called mobosity. And nowhere on earth is that way. But when the president says the voice of the people is the voice of God, what he actually says is, if you are elected councillor under MDC, no one has got a right to say you are not supposed to be a councillor. When you are voted to be an MP under Zanu-PF, no one has got a right to say you are not supposed to be MP, because the people have spoken. And in this case, the people spoke that Zanu-PF has got this number of MPs. The people spoke that Emerson Damzo Mnangagwa is going to be president. And those that talk against the voice of the people are those that are resisting.
But in my thinking, I think you know how the police treated you before the coming in of the new dispensation.
Yes.
And I clearly understand that when you are saying the voice of the people, you are saying respect the people's, advancement of the constitution that say they should protest if they are not here.
But it's the same constitution that gives the police the right to police this country. And who produced the constitution? Is it not the people? And that is their voice. Therefore, a voice said there must be a police force, there must be an army, there must be an intelligence corps, there must be every setup that we have came from the people, and that is the voice of the people. But the same voice of the people through the constitutional arrangement gave the police force the parameters of acting. And it becomes dangerous and bad when the police operates outside the responsibilities that the people gave them. For example, you move around Harare or any other town. It's rare today that you see a policeman holding a gun. But I've been to many countries. There is no corner of a street that you do not find an armed policeman.
Let's talk about the people of Zimbabwe. Yes, you put it that way, but I understand the majority of them were the NDC. Are you happy with the manner in which the crackdown that they've been experiencing, especially from...
You said the majority of what?
No, what I'm saying is, even Robert Mugabe said that he was the people who marched in November were from the MDC.
Robert Mugabe was not part of the people that marched, and he has no authority to talk about people who marched. I was in front, if you want. I was commanding. It is me who asked the people to march from Zimbabwe grounds to State House. Robert Mugabe was in the State House, not Zimbabwe grounds. He knows nothing in his grave, unfortunately. So we cannot be guided by a person who had. When you are talking to a person who was in command, I have told you, I never invited MDC people, I never invited Zanu-PF people, I invited Zimbabweans.
That gives us an opportunity also to get into our second discussion. Of course, yes. One of the things that you didn't want, that you didn't like during that time was the issue of corruption.
Yes, I still don't want.
That seems to still persist even in the new dispensation now.
Well, who is corrupt, if I may ask?
No,
because we are fighting corruption, we have encouraged government. The president has constituted a commission that should fight corruption constitutionally, and we are not going to take the law into our own hands and say, Uyuaba cannot, this one is doing this, therefore I stand judge.
You heard what the PG said, saying it's difficult to fight corruption because
he must resign.
There are certain sections that
if he cannot do his job because something is hindering, then the best thing to do is to resign. Otherwise, if he does not resign, he must sort the mess out.
Well, then also let's talk about the issue of cartels.
Yes.
You and me, and recently we had a meeting with suspended Zanu-PF youth executive Godfrey Tsenengam and Louis Maki. We had a meeting with them, yes. And these are the guys who are right now on the forefront saying corruption must stop.
And
why is the part suspended?
No one has said they mustn't talk about corruption. What the party said to them when they did it the first time, the party has got a constitution and an operating procedure which no one should go beyond. And when they committed this wrong thing at the first time, they were warned not to do it again. But I remember the president saying, this offense you have done was supposed to see you suspended or what. But because you have talked about a thing that we all want to fight, we are going to give you a second chance. And next time you want to talk about this, be procedural. So it is a case of not being procedural that we are talking about. It is not about why they talked against corruption. Everyone speaks against corruption. I don't remember a gathering that is addressed by the president where he does not talk against corruption. But we are using this Roman and Dutch law, which deals with evidence and procedure. You must have your evidence to incriminate anyone. You don't just waffle. You don't just, talk. Maku wa murain. No, this is not how this law operates. If you have your evidence, take it to the appropriate authorities, and then it is dealt with. If you think that evidence can be destroyed, give it to other people, so that when this evidence that you give to the authorities is misplaced or played around with, then you still have another piles of V11s. This is what we want. But you cannot go about labeling and giving people names without evidence.
But what pushed the party from effecting this kind of a measure on them when they have mentioned people?
I said the party has got operating procedures. The party has got a constitution which binds everyone, whether they do good or wrong. They must be bound by the constitution. The constitution is clear about how people should do things. So your question should be, were they procedural or not? Were they supposed to be given a second or third chance? Then that is up to the disciplinary committee, not me and you. Because here we have a constitution that was drafted even before they committed these crimes.
So when you had a meeting with them, what was the outcome?
I was going to disclose that after talking to the president.
I understand one of the persons that you have mentioned, there is business person, he seemed to be an untouchable person.
Touching, but I've seen people greeting him. What do you mean touching?
Yeah, in terms of right now, they've mentioned his name and they've been suspended from the party.
Okay. How many times have they talked about him?
No, I remember this was for the first time.
No.
Last time.
Even in the first time, they talked about him. It is not about names. People want to give wrong conceptions about this whole thing. It is, like I'm telling you, about the procedures used to do it. And we have a party that has got a constitution, and people cannot be blaming for trying to show the procedures of the party. If people are not satisfied by a decision, there are always other democratic ways of addressing that. But you cannot say, why did you follow your constitution? We are constitutional. We are not like some parties that can be overtaken by a person from Norway. Tomorrow they are a president. No. Zanu-PF has got procedure.
You are listening to Zimbabwe News. Keep listening to Zimbabwe News. Keep listening to Zimbabwe News. You are listening to Zimbabwe.